December 24th, 1999. A date that seemed ordinary, yet would be etched in the memories of many forever. A day like any other, bustling with the usual activities and the humdrum of daily life. Chanda Chabra, a businessman, boarded Indian Airlines Flight 814 Kathmandu to Delhi, a routine journey, one he had taken many times before. Little did he know his life was about to change forever. The mundane would soon turn into the unimaginable. The plane was in the air, cruising smoothly through the clear skies. Anticipation for the holidays filled the cabin. Laughter and chatter echoed through the aisles. Suddenly, chaos erupted. 5 men, their faces contorted with rage, stormed the aisle. The atmosphere shifted from joy to terror in an instant. They brandished guns, their eyes blazing with fanaticism. The sight was surreal, like a scene from a nightmare. The plane, once a vessel of dreams, transformed into a cage of terror. Panic seized the passengers. Screams pierced the air, echoing the fear that gripped everyone. Children clung to their mothers, their eyes wide with terror. Innocence shattered in the blink of an eye. The hijackers, members of the Harkat-ul-Mujahideen, barked orders. Their commands were sharp and unyielding. Their voices, amplified by a chilling calmness, sent shivers down everyone's spines. The contrast between their calm demeanor and the chaos they created was terrifying. The world, as they knew it, had shattered. The sense of safety and normalcy was gone. Chanda, his heart pounding in his chest, looked on in disbelief. The reality of the situation was sinking in, and it was horrifying. The hijackers, fueled by a twisted ideology, were in control. Their determination was evident in their every move. Fear, raw and consuming, tightened its grip on him. It was a fear unlike any he had ever known. He closed his eyes, desperately clinging to the hope that this was just a nightmare, a horrible, horrible nightmare. But deep down, he knew it was all too real. The hijackers' motives were clear, their intentions unmistakable. They demanded the release of terrorists imprisoned in India, a non-negotiable ultimatum. Their methods were ruthless and inhumane, showing no regard for human life. They barked orders, their voices laced with venom and authority. They shoved passengers, their touch a violation of personal space and dignity. They brandished weapons, their intent unmistakable and terrifying. Time blurred into an agonizing eternity for the passengers. The plane, a prisoner in the sky, bounced from Amritsar to Lahore to Dubai, each stop a false promise of freedom. Each landing brought a flicker of hope, quickly extinguished by the harsh reality of their situation. They were pawns in a deadly game, their lives hanging by a thread, every moment a gamble. Chanda witnessed the brutality firsthand, his heart heavy with fear and helplessness. Passengers were beaten, their cries muffled by the roar of the engines and the chaos around them. They were humiliated, their dignity stripped away, leaving them vulnerable and broken. He saw the fear in their eyes, the despair etched on their faces, a haunting image that would stay with him forever. Amidst the terror, acts of quiet courage flickered, a whispered prayer, a shared water bottle, a reassuring touch, small gestures of humanity. Humanity, fragile yet resilient, found a way to bloom even in the darkest of times, a testament to the indomitable human spirit. Amritsar, a city bustling with life, now shrouded in an air of uncertainty. A glimmer of hope emerged amidst the chaos, faces lit up with cautious optimism. Indian officials, their faces etched with concern and determination, boarded the plane. Negotiations began, a delicate dance of words and wills. The hijackers, their demands unwavering, seemed to soften, if only for a moment. The possibility of release, however slim, sparked a flicker of hope in Chanda's heart. He dared to dream of freedom, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. The sky darkened, mirroring the growing despair inside the plane. The plane, instead of freedom, found itself hurtling towards Lahore, a city that held no promise of escape. The doors opened to reveal armed Pakistani soldiers, their faces grim and unyielding. The feeling of being trapped, of being used as pawns in a geopolitical game, intensified. Dubai, a brief respite. Exhaustion mingled with fear and uncertainty. Food and water were provided, a small comfort in the midst of turmoil, a small mercy in the face of such immense cruelty. Grateful passengers clung to this fleeting moment of relief. But the hijackers, their patience wearing thin, grew increasingly erratic and unpredictable. The tension in the air was palpable, suffocating. Then the final blow came. Kandahar, Afghanistan. A desolate land ruled by the Taliban where hope seemed a distant memory, the plane taxied to a stop. The doors swung open, revealing an uncertain fate. The air hung heavy with the stench of fear and uncertainty. Chanda's heart sank deeper into despair. They were now hostages in a land where hope seemed to have withered and died, leaving only the crushing weight of disappointment. Kandahar, a city shrouded in dust and fear. The passengers were herded off the plane, their new prison a dilapidated aircraft, baking under the scorching Afghan sun. Time lost all meaning. Days bled into nights, each one an agonizing eternity. The hijackers, their faces hidden behind scarves, were a constant threat. Their moods, unpredictable, swung between moments of chilling calm and terrifying rage. They patrolled the aisles, their weapons a constant reminder of their power. Food was scarce, water even more so. The air, thick with the stench of sweat and fear, was suffocating. Sleep, when it came, was fitful, haunted by nightmares. Chanda, his body weakened but his spirit unbroken, clung to the hope of seeing his family again. Section 5. A Nation on Edge. Back in India, the nation watched with bated breath. The hijacking, broadcast on every news channel, dominated conversations. The faces of the hostages, their eyes filled with fear, became a haunting reminder of the fragility of life. The government, under immense pressure, scrambled to find a solution. Negotiations with the hijackers through intermediaries in Kandahar proved to be a frustrating dance. Every demand met with a new one, every concession a gamble. The families of the hostages, their faces etched with worry, kept vigil. Their prayers, whispered in temples and mosques and churches, filled the air. They clung to hope, their faith tested by every passing hour. The nation shared their pain, their anguish, their desperate hope for a peaceful resolution. Section 6. The Price of Freedom. Days turned into weeks. The world watched, holding its breath. The hijackers, their demands growing bolder, insisted on the release of notorious terrorists. The Indian government, faced with an impossible choice, found itself caught between the lives of its citizens and the principles it held dear. Finally, after agonizing deliberations, a decision was made. A plane carrying the terrorists, their faces hidden from the cameras, took off from Delhi. Their freedom, a bitter pill to swallow, was the price for the lives of the hostages. In Kandahar, the news was met with a mix of relief and disbelief. The hostages, their faces gaunt, their bodies weakened, were herded onto buses. They were driven to the airport, their eyes scanning the horizon for the Indian plane that would carry them home. Section 7. Scars that Remain. The plane touched down in Delhi. Tears of joy streamed down the faces of families reunited. The hostages, their ordeal finally over, emerged into a hero's welcome, but the scars of their captivity, both physical and emotional, ran deep. Chanda, reunited with his loved ones, struggled to come to terms with his experience. The nightmares, the flashbacks, the crippling fear of enclosed spaces, the invisible wounds of the hijacking refused to heal. The hijacking left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. It exposed the vulnerabilities of its security apparatus, the ruthlessness of terrorism, and the agonizing choices that governments are sometimes forced to make. Section 8. Reflections on a National Tragedy. The hijacking of IC-814 was a watershed moment in India's fight against terrorism. It highlighted the need for stronger security measures, better intelligence gathering, and a more coordinated response to such crises. The incident also sparked a debate about the price of freedom. Was it right to negotiate with terrorists? Was it justified to release hardened criminals in exchange for innocent lives? These were not easy questions, and there were no easy answers. The hijacking served as a stark reminder that terrorism is a global threat that requires a global response. It underscored the need for international cooperation, intelligence sharing, and a united front against those who seek to spread fear and chaos. Section 9. The Importance of Remembering. Years have passed since the hijacking of IC-814. The world has moved on, but the memories of that fateful December day linger. It is important that we remember the victims, the survivors, and the families who are forever scarred by this tragedy. Their stories serve as a reminder of the human cost of terrorism, of the enduring power of hope, and of the importance of fighting for a world free from fear. We owe it to them to never forget. Section 10. A call for a safer world. The hijacking of IC 814 was a tragedy, but it was also a call to action. It is a call for governments around the world to work together to combat terrorism, to address its root causes, and to create a world where such acts of barbarity are consigned to the dustbin of history. It is a call for greater understanding between people of different faiths and cultures, for dialogue instead of violence, and for a shared commitment to building a world where everyone can live in peace and security. Let us honor the memory of those who suffered by working towards that goal tirelessly and with unwavering resolve.